Okay, so get this. Today, we are dying into, well, you know, politics and that whole world where, well, let's just say things aren't always what they seem.
And it gets even better.
Oh, tell me it gets better.
We get a backstage pass, all thanks to some very, shall we say, revealing personal diaries.
Oh, juicy. Diaries always make things interesting. We're talking about someone we know.
Mitch McConnell. And, well, his, let's just say, complicated relationship with Donald Trump.
Wow, this is going to be good.
It's fascinating. We get a glimpse, an unfiltered one, at how politicians handle, that public face versus their private thoughts.
It's a constant balancing act,
Hmm.
right? Especially with all eyes on you. So, where do we even start with this? What's got the inside scoop?
There's an article from source name redacted, really pulls back the curtain on some surprising contradictions. And guess what? They're all in McConnell's own
Okay,
words.
so we're talking like big contradictions.
Let's just say sometimes real life is wilder than anything you'd see on TV.
You've got my attention. So, for those of us needing a little refresher, remind us who Mitch McConnell is and why this is such a big deal.
Sure. So Mitch McConnell, longtime Republican senator, you could say a Washington fixture, and he was the Senate Majority Leader for years, basically the one calling the shots for Senate Republicans.
The conductor of the orchestra?
Exactly. Known for his strategy, his ability to wrangle those votes and keep the party together, especially during, let's be honest, the whole Trump roller coaster.
That takes skill, no matter what you think of his politics.
Some call him a master chess player, always thinking 5 steps ahead. Not everyone's a fan, obviously, but keeping the Republicans mostly unified, especially these past few years, is something.
It's a big deal, for sure, which is what makes this whole thing so juicy. The article, it just comes out swinging. McConnell, in private, called Trump stupid.
Oh.
And get this, a despicable human being.
Ouch.
Right. And not just in a heated moment. He wrote it down in his diaries, like his personal thoughts.
That's a far cry from the public support he maintained throughout Trump's presidency, and even now, with Trump running in 2024.
It's like a political thriller, right?
Yeah.
Saying one thing publicly, writing something completely different in private. It's wild. So, of course, reporters ask him about it, these not-so-flattering comments. And his defense, well, let's just say it's interesting.
I'm dying to know, how do you defend calling someone despicable in your diary?
He basically says, and I'm paraphrasing here, look, other Republicans have been way worse about Trump. He specifically calls out J.D. Vance, who did not hold back during the 2016 election.
Oh, yeah. Vance, the America's Hitler Facebook post. Subtle.
Right. Not exactly a ringing
How
endorsement.
that even close?
And it didn't stop there. Vance also compared Trump's whole campaign to, get this, cultural heroin. Which, I mean, makes you think, doesn't it? And he even considered voting for Hillary over Trump. He admitted it.
Wow. Okay, so McConnell's trying to say his criticism was just like normal party talk. But if everyone felt this way while the support for Trump, especially now.
Right? It doesn't quite add up. To figure that out, we have to go deeper into the diaries, specifically around the 2020 election. That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, those anxieties about Trump post-election, they really jump out at you. It's like we're peeking behind the curtain, seeing the raw nerves.
It's kind of eerie. Like, the article mentions McConnell seeming, I don't know, almost relieved when Trump lost in 2020.
Really?
Yeah, there's this diary entry. He's talking about Americans being fired up, right, by Trump's, quote, misrepresentations and outright lies. But he sounds, well, surprised by how strongly people reacted.
Fired up enough to vote him out, I guess. It's a far cry from the unwavering support image, isn't it?
Totally. And then it gets, well, more intense. His January 6th entry, it's raw, full of anger, even fear.
Can't say I blame him.
He puts the blame squarely on Trump for the Capitol attack, calls it a disgrace, worries what Trump's words might lead to.
Okay, yeah, that's a big turning point. Not just disagreeing on policy anymore. This is like fundamental fear for democracy.
Right. It goes even further. McConnell calls Trump a narcissist, says losing the election is like any restraint just vanished.
Wow.
You can practically feel McConnell watching this unfold, dreading what a desperate Trump might do.
And remember, this is days after January 6th. That shook everyone in the Capitol, no matter their politics. A real, oh, wow, democracy is fragile moment.
Absolutely. That tension, the uncertainty, it's right there in his words. You almost wonder, was this genuine worry for the country or for McConnell's own future after everything?
$1 million question. Genuine soul searching, or a politician trying to jump ship before it sinks? Private citizen or power play? Hard to say.
Because, here's the kicker, a few years later, despite all that writing, McConnell endorses Trump for 2024.
Seriously, after despicable and everything.
It really makes you think twice, huh? You read those diary entries and it's like genuine worry about the country, then bam, endorsement. How do you square those?
Yeah, it's a puzzle, all right? Some pieces don't fit so neatly. Could be cold, hard calculation. Political chess.
Meaning, putting strategy above personal feelings.
Maybe. Love him or hate him, Trump's got that hold on the Republican base. And McConnell, he's all about strategy. So supporting Trump, even if it's, through gritted teeth, it might be about holding on to his own influence.
So preventing someone even more extreme from taking over.
Exactly. It's all about control, right? The party, the votes, pushing those policy goals, even if it means siding with someone you called him despicable, didn't you?
It's almost Shakespearean, the things you do to hold on to power.
Hmm.
Or maybe he's just being pragmatic.
How do you mean?
Maybe he sees this as the best bad option. Like a second Trump term, it's not ideal, but it's better than whatever else might be out there.
A calculated risk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's sobering, isn't it, this whole thing? It's like a peek behind the curtain of politics. The compromises, the strategy, weighing your own beliefs against, staying in the game.
Makes you wonder, how much can we ever really trust what a politician says? When their private thoughts might be totally different.
And maybe even bigger, what does it say about our system that this kind of, maneuvering, that it's just business as usual?
It's a question worth asking, that's for sure. And this whole deep dive into McConnell's world, it wasn't just about him and Trump, right? It's about how politics really work, the challenges, the lack of transparency, can we trust anyone? That's a conversation we got to keep having.
We do. So here's something to think about. Private words versus public actions. Which matters more? And how do you make sense of that gap between what they say and what they do? It's a tough one, but important to consider. Until next time, stay curious, keep digging for the truth, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.